We're going to start reading The Great Gatsby, a novel by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Understanding the times helps to understand the novel. World War I ended in 1918. Disillusioned because of the war, the generation that fought and survived has come to be called the Lost Generation. The Roaring Twenties was a time, during the 1920s, while the sense of loss was readily apparent among expatriate American artists who remained in Europe after the war. Back home, the disillusionment took a less obvious form. America seemed to throw itself headlong into a decade of madcap behavior and materialism, a decade that has come to be called the Roaring Twenties. The era is also known as the Jazz Age, when the music called jazz, promoted by such recent inventions as the phonograph and the radio, swept up from New Orleans to capture the national imagination. Improvised and wild, jazz broke the rules of music, just as the Jazz Age thumbed its nose at the rules of the past. There was a new woman in the 1920s. Among the rules broken were the age-old conventions guiding the behavior of women. The new women demanded the right to vote and to work outside the home. Symbolically, she cut her hair into a boyish bob and bared her calves in the short skirts of the fashionable 20s flapper. Prohibition, another rule often broken, was the 18th Amendment to the Constitution, or Prohibition, which banned the public sale of alcoholic beverages from 1919 until its repeal in 1933. Speakeasies, nightclubs, and taverns that sold liquor were often raided, and gangsters made illegal fortunes as bootleggers smuggling alcohol into America from abroad. Gambling was another problem. Another gangland activity was illegal gambling. Perhaps the worst scandal involving gambling was the so-called Black Sox scandal of 1919, in which 8 members of the Chicago White Sox were indicted for accepting bribes to throw baseball's World Series. The automobile also was something that people really wanted to have. The Jazz Age was also an era of reckless spending and consumption, and the most conspicuous status symbol of the time was a flashy new automobile. Advertising was becoming the major industry that it is today, and soon advertisers took advantage of the new roadways by setting up huge billboards at their sides. Both the automobiles and a bizarre billboard play important roles in The Great Gatsby. How has the reception changed over the decades? Well, let's look at the next slides. While fellow writers praised Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, critics often offered less favorable reviews. The Baltimore Evening Sun called the plot no more than a glorified anecdote, and the characters were marionettes. The New York Times called the book neither profound nor durable. The London Times saw it as undoubtedly a work of great promise, but criticized its unpleasant characters. Fitzgerald's reputation reached its lowest point during the Depression, when he was viewed as a Jazz Age writer whose time has come and gone. The Great Gatsby went out of print in 1939. When Fitzgerald died a year later, Time magazine didn't even mention The Great Gatsby. In the 1940s, interest in Fitzgerald was reviewed with the posthumous book The Last Tycoon. A literary critic was the first to point out that Gatsby, despite its Jazz Age setting, focused on timeless, universal concerns. In the 1950s, Fitzgerald's reputation soared with a new biography entitled The Far Side of Paradise. The London Times affirmed that Gatsby is one of the best, if not the best, American novels of the past 50 years. What is the reputation today? The Great Gatsby's place as a major novel is now assured. Most high schools teach this novel, and that's why you'll be reading it. It's time for you to decide, old sport, is going to be a question that we will hear in the novel, and you can decide whether or not you like having The Great Gatsby in high school.